Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to our biweekly press briefing and maybe even more importantly to the opening of our Citywide Hiring Fair. I want to say good morning to Greg Odell, who is here, who does a sterling job of managing our convention center and helping bring so many shows into the convention center. Greg, thank you very much for hosting us today. I also want to thank all of you who come out to participate in this recruitment fair as we continue our efforts to help district residents find good, sustainable jobs here in the District of Columbia that will continue to lower our city's unemployment rate. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a second. I want to thank all the employers who've come today, those from the private sector, from our city agencies. I think we have, 25 or 30 of our District of Columbia government agencies here today that also will be looking for people for the jobs that we have available. And a lot of our employers are ready to hire right on site. So I hope those of you who are looking for a job have come ready to be able to provide whatever information will be necessary in order to accomplish that. I also want to thank all the people in my administration who have worked so hard to build an increasingly better Department of Employment Services. I want to thank our director, Tom Luparello, who is right over here. I want to thank our deputy mayor for planning and economic development, Jeff Miller, who is here today as well, because so much of what we've done is not just to get people hired for jobs, it's really to be able to create jobs in the District of Columbia. We're not going to talk about our economic development strategy today, but we have, just in the time that this strategy has been in place, we've seen the creation of, I don't know, how many jobs? 17,750 jobs and additional tax revenue having been generated for the city. I also want to recognize Sean Stokes, who has done a great job leading our Department of Human Resources here in the District of Columbia. How about a big hand for Sean? Sean? We recognize that there's still far too many people who are out of work in the District of Columbia. But frankly, we also have to note the progress that's taken place through initiatives like One City, One Hire. Some of you may recall that it's actually been over a couple of years. It'll be 3 years soon since we launched the One City, One Hire program, when we said that we were going to get 10,000 people jobs in the District of Columbia. And there were some people who looked at us like we were nuts, like how are you going to get 10,000 people jobs? But you know what? Today we are pleased to announce that we've actually passed the goal of getting 10,000 people jobs under the One City, One Hire program here in the District of Columbia. You're going to hear from a couple of our residents who were instrumental in helping us reach the goal that we've reached. You'll hear from them shortly. I guess the key factor in growing and sustaining our economic growth has been the creation of jobs and aggressively working to find people jobs. We've actually not hired just 10,000. We now are at 10,162 people who have gotten jobs in the District of Columbia. And what that has meant, and I know that these numbers don't mean a lot to somebody who may be still looking for a job. I understand that, but we know we're going in the right direction. We have come from what was an all-time high in the District of Columbia of around 11.1, 11.3% unemployment to now where we are substantially lower than that. We are down to 7.4%, almost a 4% drop in unemployment in the District of Columbia. And ladies and gentlemen, take my word for it, that is absolutely phenomenal. We know that a lot of our employers were not willing, I should say, to hire those folks who were out of work back then because there were not a lot of jobs, and they could be very selective about who they chose, and they actually chose to be that way. We have now not only gotten hired over 10,100 people, but also almost 1,200 employers have worked with us. Actually 1,194 employers, so we're just 6 short of that goal as well. And that continues to create a rich resource of jobs that will be developed and created here in the city. And again, we are down to 7.4% unemployment. Now, we also know that there are areas of the city where unemployment is still too high. Ward 5, for example, the unemployment rate is still 11.9%, which is down by about 3 percentage points from when it was when we started. Ward 7 is still at 15%. That's down from about 18%. And Ward 8 is at 17.8%. But what's phenomenal about that is that when we started this, the unemployment rate in Ward 8 was 26.9%, ladies and gentlemen, which means we've had a decrease of about 9% of the unemployment rate, or almost half, almost a third, of the unemployment rate has been reduced in Ward 8. We know in areas like Ward 2, which we're in today, the unemployment rate is around 2.6%. Ward 3 is 2.8%. So we've got a lot of work to be able to do to be able to reach those goals. We've made great strides in reducing the unemployment rate by the amount that I just mentioned over these last 3 years, but we've got a great deal more work that we have to do. I want to once again salute our Department of Employment Services, which has really increased its efforts to connect people who are looking for a job with training provided by employers and training provided by industries in the District of Columbia. It's helped us be able to not have people just come to events and then there's no job opportunity that is available for them. We just won't do that anymore. We are working to make sure that the training as provided connects with real jobs and that we are continuing to develop real jobs for people here in the District of Columbia. I certainly can't say that everybody who's here today will leave with a job, but I can say that there are real jobs that are being offered by the 130 employers who are here today to interview people. We've been working closely with the U.S. Department of Labor through their reemployment eligibility and assessment program, and we just got an additional award from them to be able to add more services to help more people be able to get back to work. We just got in June an award of $670,000 to the District of Columbia to be able to add more training and employment readiness activities. We know that a lot of the people who are looking for jobs face a lot of challenges when returning to the workforce, and we're trying to address those as well. We know it's incumbent upon us to help provide people who are looking for jobs with the tools they need to be successful and then retain those jobs. There's a lot I could say about that, but I think you all get the message that a great deal of progress has been made in lowering unemployment and that we've got more work to do. In a couple of minutes, you're going to hear from Derek Middleton, who works with Reston Limousine, supporting his Capitol Heights, Maryland office. He was unemployed when he came to the Department of Employment Services looking for suitable work for wanted a job for someone with a professional driver's license and associated certification. Prior to that, Derek was only able to get part-time contract work. He's a single father, and he simply wasn't able to make ends meet. Fortunately enough, he connected with DOE's Business Services Group. That led him to the Rest and Limousine opportunity. He has a CDL, a commercial driver's license, and he has moved forward since. And by the way, if you fast forward, he was recently promoted to be a salaried fleet manager with that company. There is hope for everybody, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to move forward if we work hard at this. Let me recognize one other success story, and that is Donise Tyler, who is a returning citizen and who was homeless and had multiple barriers to unemployment, not the least of which were the two that I've mentioned already. She went into the Hospitality Outreach Pathways program, HOPE, as the acronym goes, program. Now she's no longer homeless, and she's working with Cambria Suites Hotel, which opened right up the street as a part of the development that we were engaged in with Roadside, the O Street Market development, and Cambria Suites was a part of that. So I want to give them an opportunity to be able to be heard from today because they really are symbols of hope. We're going to start with Mr. Middleton, and I'm going to ask him if he would come up and talk to us a little bit about what has been his experience. Mr. Middleton.
Good morning, everyone. All right, Mayor Vincent Gray basically summed it all up as far as for me, but there are some other little things that I need to include. First of all, I want to thank God, because if it wasn't for him to give us this breath of life to get up this morning, we wouldn't be here. And he has a plan for us, definitely, you know. Like you said, I was unemployed for a while, single parent, and it was hard. I mean, the trials and tribulations was coming at me from all directions. I basically started a transportation service myself with the seniors and disabled, which kind of, fell to the wayside. But I'm not giving up on it. But I was given the opportunity to get with Rest and Limousine. But it all started with Miss Barbara Gardner, which sits right here in the front, works for the Department of Employment Service. She opened my resume. She gave me that push. Just good words, you know what I mean? That strength and faith to just go ahead and keep moving on. Because like I said, ever since December of last year, it was just everything was coming down, you know? And when you have children that you need to take care of as a single parent, you're going to do whatever it takes to make that money, you know what I mean? To provide for them to survive. And that's what I did. But I was working 2-3 jobs at one time, which wasn't adding up to too much, but I was blessed. I got a job, you know what I mean? I was working. So we got in touch with Miss Barbara, got in touch with Scott Sibley, and Scott Sibley got in touch with Mary Radford, which works for Rest and Limousine. She's sitting in the front right now, too, also. And from then on, it took probably 2 hours, and I'm seriously timed it. It was like 2 hours. I put the resume in. We built the resume up real quick because I had one, but we just had to make it a little better as far as with the transportation part. And built that up, sent it in. Ms. Mary Radford got back in touch with me. I took an assessment test, and next thing you know, I got an interview on the phone, and then I got a date for an interview to come in person, and then got my date for my training class. So, like I said, 2 hours, and I was hired with Rest and Limousine. And I started, I think it was May 15th or May 16th. And so, of course, your 90 days is up. My 90 days would be August. But I was blessed also, like, as of today, I started my training for a supervisor. So I'm saying this to say that don't give up. You understand what I'm saying? We're going to go through those trials and tribulations, and those trials and tribulations are meant to happen for a reason. So don't take it to heart, you know what I mean? But just go ahead and keep struggling and stay around a lot of positive people, get away from all that negativity, and empty out your closets and clean it up, you know what I mean? And stay around a lot of positive people. That's going to help you to get where you need to be, you know what I'm saying? But just, I say my thing is, my name for my transportation was steadfast and focused. You know what I mean? And there's meaning behind that. You have to be steadfast in everything that you do and remain focused. So that's what I have to say for the day, and everybody have a blessed day. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Middleton. We're now going to have Denise Tyler to come up, and we look forward to hearing from her. Come on up.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Denise. And I'm just like the gentleman that just got off the stage. Nothing I've done could have been done without God. First of all, I need to ask you to come on up here. I'm going to ask him to come up here because I owe him so much. You had a decision to make about making some cuts. And you just sat here and talked about the training programs. If you'd have made those cuts, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the support that I have. And I have to say the last 4 months have been a blessing. During my training, I had my mom's in the hospital. I lost my uncle. But I had to keep going. First things first. I sat out there. And I think I was like in the middle. Those numbers you talked about was crap to me. It was political crap because it wasn't true to me. It wasn't true to me because I wasn't ready to do what I needed to do. So once I started this training program, it's called Hope over at Goodwill for my hospitality, I already knew. I can't get nothing out that program if I don't put nothing in it. I was already homeless. I was already hopeless. And all I had to do was look forward. I was already at my bottom. Two gentlemen right there, Mr. Penny and Mr. Reed, they didn't give up on me. It was days I sat in class and I just cried, worrying about my mother. But Ma always said, did he go to school? So that's what I did, and I'd like to say I finished close to the top.
All right.
Because I'm not taking the bottom. I've been there. The things that God got me ready for, living pillar to post, and having people telling me to get out. I don't have to have anybody tell me get out anymore. I pay rent.
All right.
Nah, I pay market rent. But that's just because I have people that help me. I'm tired of sitting at the bottom. And it's for anybody that's out there. Trust me when I tell you I was at the bottom. You can do any and everything that you want to do. If you get into one of these training programs, man, make it the best. Make it the best. Because you know what they say as soon as you sit down. Only a certain amount gonna make it. I dare you to tell yourself that you're gonna be part of that certain amount. You know, I work up at the Cambria Suites Hotel. I'm the only female houseman. That should tell you something. I'm not going to be left out. No more. So, Mr. Penny, thank you. Mr. Reed, thank you. And if it wasn't for you not making that cut for our training programs, I wouldn't be here.
All right.
And I appreciate you guys. Thank you. You have a good one, all right? Thank you. A whole lot. Proud of you.
Thank you. How about another big hand for the two folks that we just heard from? No, Catherine Lambert is the Director of Human Resources at the Marriott Marquis, which is our relatively brand new hotel, convention headquarters hotel that was just opened. Well, really just in the last 90 days or so. I want to ask her to come up and talk a little bit about what it means, because Marriott is one of our big employers here in the District of Columbia. So I want to ask her to come up and talk a little bit about what this means. Marriott is one of the 1,194 employers who have stepped up to make this happen. How about a big hand for Marriott and Catherine Lambert?
Hi, everybody. Is everyone ready? Excited? What wonderful opportunities will be provided today. Marriott has a saying that Marriott opens doors to a world of opportunity, and clearly the doors are wide open for all of you in this room today. So I'm Catherine Lambert. I'm the Director of Human Resources of that big, beautiful hotel next door, and a proud neighbor to the Walter E. Washington Convention Center. Marriott International has been long-standing in the city of Washington. So for many of you in this room, you remember our A&W root beer stands, as well as the hot shops that started here in Washington, D.C. Yes, exactly, I still miss the hot shops. But now we have plenty of hotels of all different brands, Ritz-Carlton, Renaissance, Courtyard, Fairfield Inn, which are located here in the city. Within Marriott, as business grows, opportunity grows. And our hotel next door is a great example of that. It's a great opportunity to start a career. In hospitality, and whichever brands are represented, Marriott or not Marriott, here in this room, we do believe that hospitality does not just provide jobs, it provides careers. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about our experience working with the Department of Employment Services as we began this journey of providing careers. Although we officially just opened our doors on June 10th, the work with Department of Employment Services began years ago. Our hotel was very fortunate that we had an amazing jobs training program that was funded and sponsored by DC Events. Through many meetings that started 2 years ago, through many meetings, engaged partnerships, and a lot of hard work, DOES was able to assist us step by step through the sourcing process of our future associates. They helped us identify and vet candidates that led to the success of our hotel being able to interview and hire hundreds of DC residents. And we are very, very proud of that. So one of our hotel's 4 core values is that we know our neighborhood and we proudly represent Washington, D.C. Thanks to our continued partnership with DOES, we are certain that this core value will be actively practiced and lived within all of our hosts, that's what we call our associates, with all of our hosts who work in our hotel. So now here's the opportunity. We've already opened, right? We've hired a large group of people. However, the opportunity is now to sustain this core value by continuing to source DC residents to work within our business. My team is here today, Brianna and Dario, and we're ready to work alongside all of these amazing employers and support you all in this room find your world of opportunity. So I wish you all a wonderful day. Thank you to Todd, Department of Employment Services, as well as the mayor for allowing me to speak at this event. Have a wonderful day.
All right, again, I want to thank Catherine. I want to thank Marriott. I want to recognize one other person who is just an inspiration, somebody I have enormous respect for because what he's done with his life. He is now the president. He is the head, the elected leader, if you will, of the Hotel Association. He happens to be a general manager of one of the Marriott hotels in the District of Columbia. And what a great story he has. He tells it himself. I've heard it a number of times, and I don't think I can hear it enough times. He started as a dishwasher with the Marriott chain, and now he's worked his way virtually to the top. Please welcome Thomas Penny. I know we have some media out here. If you all have any questions about One City, One Hire or the fair today, we'll be happy to take those. And then the rest of the questions that will be unrelated to this we'll do behind the stage where we are, so that people can get on with their business. Any of our media have any questions about this? I guess that's a good sign. Everybody ready? All right, well, let's get on with it, you all. Have a great day. Obviously, we've had the discussion already. I don't know if you all have any other questions about the progress that we've made with getting people back to work. I should have mentioned this out there, but for those who don't know, the city, for our One City, One Hire award program, got an award from Harvard University, a Bright Idea Award for that program, and we're very proud of that. We talk about it as much as we possibly can. So, again, we're making progress, and we hope that you guys will report on that progress. Most of all, to let people know that we are continuing to get people prepared for jobs and help get them jobs. To see the number of people here today at once is uplifting and is challenging, because that means so many people are still looking for jobs. Mike?
What's your message to the next mayor in terms of continuing this program?
I think we need to continue working as aggressively as we can to get people jobs. But it isn't just getting people a job, it's getting people a career. And that's what we're working on in terms of what we will do. For example, Mike, at the end of August, we're opening 9 career and technical education academies in our high schools. They will prepare young people for jobs who want to go directly to work after they graduate, or they can go on to the community college or a community college to pursue a career path, even more so, or go on to a 4-year school. But we need to do everything we can to make sure that people have job opportunities. And we have ended the day when people are trained for jobs that don't exist. When you look at what we're doing with the CTE academies, they're focused on the construction career ladder. They're focused on information technology, and they're focused on hospitality and tourism, all of which are jobs that are being created in the city as a part of our economic development strategy. So I couldn't emphasize enough the importance of continuing to focus on vocational development, career development.
But One City, One Hire has been the centerpiece of that. I mean, would you call on the next mayor to continue One City, One Hire, even if it's under a different name?
Well, absolutely. I think it's a program that has worked, and that's what we want to do. We want to continue programs that work. So, absolutely. I mean, they can call it whatever they want to call it. I don't care. The issue is making sure that people get jobs, that we continue to bring down the unemployment rate from, what it was, 11.1, 11.3%, down now to 7.4%, and we hope it continues to go south. What I'm really happy with too, Mike, is that a lot of the gains that we've made have been in areas where unemployment has been the highest. When you look at Ward, when you look at Ward 8, 26.9% when I came into office, and we're down now to 17, whatever the number was that I cited, 17.8 or something of the like. So it's going in the right direction, and if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
Mr. Mayor, I didn't hear all of the question, but I've talked to the people that are standing out there in the line. They practically loop the outside of this auditorium. So, while your program has been successful, as you say, you've got an awful lot of people, professionals in some instances, still looking for work, and some of these people tell me they've been out of work for a few years now. What do you say to those people?
Well, we say that we're doing things like this to give people opportunities to get back to work. One of the reasons why we had the 2 people up there today, Bruce, because those were people who had been for different reasons, they had been out of work for a while themselves. We have tried to retool our training programs. We have worked hard with the employment community in the District of Columbia to help them recognize that we can be helpful in finding professionals for jobs. So my message to people today is, one, a number of you will leave with jobs, but those who don't leave with jobs today, continue to work with us and we will work to get you back to work or to work.
Hi, I'm Hannah Hess with Roll Call. I was wondering if in August, do you predict that the city is going to ask for more time on this gun ruling?
Can you stand? I'm having a hard time hearing.
Sure.
It's cavernous in here.
Sorry about that. My name's Hannah Hess, and I'm with Roll Call. And I wanted to ask you about the judge's decision to put a stay on the gun order.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen in August? Will the city ask for more time at that point?
Well, we're going to start working now with the council. The council is in recess. We're going to work with the chairman and other members that are around, especially those who are part of the Judiciary Committee. We'll work obviously with our Office of the Attorney General, with our public safety leadership, with Deputy Mayor Quander, with Chief Lanier, to now really try to, one, ascertain exactly what all the ramifications are of this ruling, because it was not entirely clear. For those of you who read it, you know that it was not entirely clear. So we're going to try to figure that out. And then in the course of the stay, we'll also evaluate what we might do with an appeal, how that might go. So that's how we will use the next 90 days, including putting together language that we think may be needed in order to ensure that we fully comply with this ruling, if that's the direction we go.
And in the stay that came out yesterday, the judge declined to clarify anything else about the ruling. Were you disappointed in that little? It was like a subnote in the order granting the stay.
Yeah, we think certainly more clarification would be very helpful to us, obviously, because this order, at such point that it becomes effective after the stay is over, after 90 days, we have to be able to implement it, and we want to be as clear as we possibly can with folks about what it means. So the degree that we can get clarification from the judge who crafted this ruling, obviously that would be helpful to us and to the people in the city, and especially our law enforcement leadership.
Mayor, to follow up, is it not clear that the total ban on having registered handguns in public, that's going to become history soon, right?
That's going to become what?
It's going to become history. What's left for the city, according to the lawyers we've talked to, is decide who will be able to walk in public with a registered gun, right?
Well, that's a part of the decision, the decision making that has to be made. Ariel, you want to come up and talk about from the AG perspective where we see this at this stage? And to be honest with you, Bruce, we are continuing to learn ourselves what the ramifications are of this ruling. So we don't want to go too far and potentially misspeak what all of this means.
Thank you, Mayor Bray. Bruce, to your question, I don't think it's clear yet that our current law is history. Under the stay, the law as it stood as of Friday night is fully back on the books and operative for our law enforcement community and applicable to anyone in this city. There's no court, the Supreme Court, or any court in this city that has put out a ruling that is operative, that our current law does not survive. And as has been discussed in a lot of the press the last few days, this city has very unique and powerful arguments as to why a ban on carry is necessary. We are the seat of the federal government. We have dignitaries and other federal officials who are subject to constant death threats. We've had actual assassinations and assassination attempts using firearms in this city. We are a unique place, and so there's a very serious and open question about whether our ban is fully valid. That's, as the mayor said, that is going to get worked out in the process. In addition, because of the questions raised by Judge Scullin's ruling, which is, as has been said, is now stayed, the council and the mayor working closely with the council are going to explore ways to make sure that our carry laws continue to be strong, as they are in jurisdictions across the country but may perhaps be drawn back from an absolute ban during the legislative process.
What we're unclear on is how determined and how far is the city prepared to fight for those things you just outlined? Are you prepared to go all the way back to the Supreme Court to keep some kind of ban on carrying weapons in public?
As the mayor indicated, we're evaluating exactly that question. We're looking at our strategy on the appeal. It's not a decision we've made yet. And one of the advantages of the stay, and one of the reasons we asked immediately for the stay, was to give some breathing room on this very significant issue of public safety for all those decisions, litigation, legal strategy, and most importantly, the public policy and public safety decisions to get made in due course and not in any kind of rushed way.
So you haven't decided whether or not you're going to appeal?
Correct.
You got the stay, you haven't decided on an appeal yet?
We haven't decided whether we're going to appeal. We have at least 90 days. We have asked the court, if we do appeal, to stay his ruling during the entire pendency of that appeal to make sure that the process can play out in a way that is safe, that gives the public the important clarity that it needs, and that gives law enforcement time to come up with a good and continuing solid plan for the officers to work with.
Ariel, do you think there's enough, 90 days is enough time? If the judge won't grant a further stay, is 90 days enough time to come up with a suitable law that's constitutionally sound and preserves public safety?
I think it's possible. There's a reason that our office, with the mayor's guidance, sought a stay for the full pendency of an appeal, or in the alternative for 180 days. We thought that gave clearly enough time. But as I understand it from announcements from Chairman Mendelson, and as the mayor has indicated, there is a lot of will to move quickly and to make sure that a strong law that is consistent with the Second Amendment can be looked at in the short term.
The request for stay, it was noted that lawyers are pressing prosecutors from your office and from the U.S. Attorney's Office to dismiss charges on carrying pistols. What's happening with that right now?
Because, as has been discussed, the stay has been granted. Those prosecutions are still valid. We have, for example, our office has some cases in the juvenile context that involve the statute issued here, gun cases carrying a firearm without a license. And those cases can continue lawfully, as we do in every case. And as I know the U.S. Attorney's Office does in every case, there's going to be a decision made on a case-by-case basis. I should also say, in most, not all, but in most of the cases involving this statute, there's another charge that we're talking about that is completely unaffected by this decision. So, for example, unregistered ammunition, unregistered firearm, those laws are strong, they're on the books, they're unaffected by this decision, and in all those cases, the government can, and where appropriate, will go forward.
Can we hear from the chief on what the differences are? Chief, can you talk about the differences of policing a city where carrying firearms is flatly illegal and policing a city where some people are in fact allowed to wear firearms who aren't in law enforcement?
So, because it is Washington, D.C., we encounter, there are lots and lots of people in Washington, D.C. every day that are armed. H.R. 218 allows for a category of folks to be armed in the city. There are lots of federal and local law enforcement folks that are allowed to be armed, that are out there in plain clothes and off duty that we encounter every day. So it's not that we're not used to encountering people who are in fact armed. That's not true. That's not a big shift for us. As we saw at the Navy Yard response, there are hundreds of federal law enforcement folks walking around in this city that are armed all the time. So really the big shift for us, well, first of all, on Saturday night, getting an unofficial word that the law had been banned at 9 o'clock on Saturday night was not the best way to get the news. And then trying to inform a 5,000 person department that polices 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that was the big challenge. But really our main concern in law enforcement is security of the most sensitive things here in Washington, D.C. Of all of my concerns, my biggest concern is how do we designate what are the sensitive things that we need to provide security for? Dignitary protection. Lots of dignitaries, this is the home of the president, the vice president, The first family, foreign heads of state travel and meet here. We got the African Summit coming up this week. So our big concern is how do we move forward and make sure that we keep sensitive places, as we define sensitive places, sensitive in dealing with who can enter those places while armed with a firearm.
Is it a problem to possibly have people on the street carrying weapons while, say, there's a motorcade, a presidential motorcade or a dignitary motorcade coming
past?
Yes,
I would say yes. That's our big concern, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. You know, law-abiding citizens that register firearms, that follow the rules, are not our worry. I mean, that is not a law enforcement worry. Our worry really is how do we maintain the level of security in the nation's capital that we're required to maintain 24 hours a day in the areas that we're required to maintain that security, you know, now considering that we have to deal with non-law enforcement folks who may be armed in public space. So we just have to make sure we really think through that very carefully. Is that it?
Any questions on any other topics?
I have a topic about the Silver Line Metro. How do you think the Silver Line will positively affect the D.C. economy?
How will it affect the D.C. economy? I actually think it'll be a real plus. You know, I think it'll bring, as more jobs are created in the District of Columbia, it's going to bring more people into the city. And I know there's a flip side too, that there are more jobs that people can readily get to. But I think that first of all, with the number of people living in the city increasing, it's going to allow people to get to jobs and live in the city in ways that they couldn't have before. You know, folks who might have made the decision to live out in areas of Northern Virginia now can make, I think, a positive decision from our perspective to live in the city because they more readily can get to those areas than they could have before.
Mr. Mayor, you've had some time to digest the news of the FBI leaving D.C. Are you still seeing it as a positive 24 hours later?
Well, don't forget that we actually, I don't know if you saw the letter that we sent in May, where we said that once they imposed the criteria on us that would have required us to make all of Poplar Point available, we would essentially withdrew. So we didn't expect to be in a final group because we had said, I'm sorry, the criteria that you've established, we just can't meet them. And frankly, I think a lot of us look at it. We've had a study that's done that said that that site would generate around $28 million of tax revenue for the city. So we wish the FBI well. We wish they were staying in the city. But frankly, from the perspective of the availability of that site to us, it's going to have a tremendous economic development benefit to the District of Columbia, especially now with the hotel, the Trump Hotel, that's going to be opening up across the street. I think it's going to enliven Pennsylvania Avenue in ways that it even has not been enlivened before. All right. Thank you all very much.